everybody, welcome back to the strategy room. I am so excited to see you again today. So remember, today we're going to be talking about how we're going to maintain that new budding relationship with that TME. But before we talk about that, how was your day? I like to know how you were doing, how everything went for you today. Well, I'm believing that it went good for you, but for me, listen, I had a fantastic day. A friend of mine called me to have some lunch with him at this wonderful, delightful little restaurant called Manger, Haitian restaurant. And we had some turkey tassel. Delicious. It's actually fried turkey with some very special spices. It was delicious. The thing about this restaurant, the food looked exactly like the picture. I'm telling you, exactly. I took a picture for you. Want to see? Hold on, let me get it for you. So the food looked really good, right? It tasted just as good as it looked. But anyway, I just want to give you a little secret about me. Every so often, I go over on the dark side and I indulge in something that's not good for me. And today, it was the turkey tassel. But anyway, enough about me, more about you. How did your meeting go? Was it good? In the comments below, give me 3 words that expresses exactly how your experience went, okay? And if you want to tell me a little bit more, send me an email, thestrategyroom@gmail.com. That's the D-A, okay? You don't want to do the T-H-E, it's the D-A because I'm the island girl, remember? So anyway, let's get into it. The first thing you want to do is have coaching at least once a week. In your coaching session, of course, you want to talk about how the week went, your successes. You want to talk about what your challenges are. You want to keep in contact with that TME. And one of the reasons why I would prefer you to coach once a week is so you can develop a bond with your employee. Developing a bond is so important because as that TME becomes comfortable with you, then they're going to express a little bit more. They're going to become a little bit more relaxed. Also, I would also like you to encourage the TME to host those meetings sometime, because when they chair the meeting, they have a way of just, being honest, right? So if you're evaluating yourself, of course, you're going to be honest. And in your honesty, you get to see what you can improve on yourself without somebody else having to tell you, sorry. So I also want you to do impromptu coaching. If you see that TME is doing something right or good or special, I need you to go up to them and let them know right there and then in real time that they're doing something good. And if they're doing something that could be done a little bit better, you go also next to them and you encourage them to do it a little bit better. So that's real-time coaching, which is excellent, right? The next thing you want to do is measure, praise, and encourage. Measuring is so important. What is not measured never happened. So what do I mean by measure? When you have that coaching session, you want to have the conversation about how far they are from their goal or how close they are from their goal. So you have to know, so they'll know how much energy and how much effort to put into what they're doing, right? When I talk about praise, every so often you got to give them some praise, pat on the shoulder, and let them know that they're doing a good job. That's very important. And you know something, if you have a child, right, and you ask them to clean their room for whatever reason, you ask them to clean their room, and you give them a highest praise as you possibly can with all the bells and the whistles and the shouting, the child will just look at you so gleefully and would want to go and do something else to get some more praise. So it's very important for you to praise within reason. You don't want to overdo it, but you'll know when. Just give that employee that praise and it'll encourage them to do even more. When I talk about encourage, there may be some times when they fall off the bandwagon, okay, when they fall back into the old way of doing things. But you want to take that opportunity to encourage them. You don't want to scold them. You don't want to be berating. So you want to, coach them along and let them know that you're still there for them. And even sometimes you can share a story about yourself when you had an incident going back into your old ways and what you did to move forward. So that's important. Always, always encourage, don't destroy. Okay? The next thing is reward and recognition. That is so important. I cannot express how important this is. Recognition, reward and recognition goes a very long way. It boosts confidence, morale, and it encourages the TME to continue in the right direction. And, reward and recognition don't have to be difficult, Be creative. In fact, if you want to recognize them, you can, when you have the general staff meeting, you can mention what they did, you can give them some praise. Even though you praise them in the coaching session, I feel that coaching them in the front of their peers is even better, right? So remember, you have to reward and recognize. And, let me give you an idea, or idea of two, what I used to do. It doesn't cost you much, doesn't cost you anything. You can give that employee 15 minutes additional onto their lunch hour, or you can let them leave 15 minutes earlier, or come in 15 minutes late. Or, I love this one, I used to get their coffee or whatever their favorite beverage is, and I write a nice little note and attach it to the beverage and put it on their desk. So when they come in, they get to see it, and I would see their face glow, and it's so wonderful. And how about this one? This is not expensive either. And your company may have a budget, and even if your company do not have a budget, this is not too expensive. You can give them 2 tickets to the movies, right? So that's wonderful. So reward and recognition, I cannot tell you how important that is. I think it gives them an idea of how they're coming along. Yes, you want to tell them, this is the goal here, but I need you to move here, or you're close. But give me some pat on the back sometimes and let me feel that you really think that I'm going in the right direction. So reward and recognition, don't forget that one. Okay, this is the final and the bonus tip. We're going to take it down a bit. Do you realize that when you're walking on the walkway or the sidewalk, that there are lines every couple of feet? Do you know what those lines are for? Those lines are to prevent the concrete from breaking. When the weather changes, the concrete expands and contracts. And if that line is not there, the whole thing is going to come apart. And I'm going to use that analogy and compare it to your new relationship with your TME. You want to strike a balance. You want to be flexible. You want to have a professional relationship, but at the same time, you want to keep it light. So I suggest that you find common ground, something that both of you are interested in. I put the onus on you. Listen during coaching session, and listen in and listen out for things that interest them. And then if you have to do research, then you go ahead and you do your research. And if that's something that you're interested in already, then that's a bonus for you. But find common ground and have a conversation outside of coaching. And while you're doing that, you will develop a bond. And let me tell you, relationships are currencies. They are valued sometimes more than money. They can sometimes buy things that money cannot buy. And I'm going to give you a story about my first TME. And it's because of my experience with this TME that I decided to not be so harsh on the person who seemed difficult, because most of the time there's a treasure behind that crass or that difficult or onerous personality, which is only temporary. I had a TME, he was so, oh my goodness, he was belligerent, he was loud, he was everything that you can imagine that would really strike a nerve. Okay. But when we finally got to the point where we had a relationship, and that was developed through coaching, we had a conversation one day, and there was something that I was trying to get done for 3 years, and no matter how I tried to get it done, I went to different offices, spoke to different people, and I could not get it done. And in conversation, I mentioned it to him, and guess what? Are you ready for this? Are you sitting down or are you standing up? He got it done for me in 1 day. He picked up the phone and he made a phone call because he felt a sense of loyalty to me because I, encouraged him, and I did not get rid of him or cast him on the side like his other supervisors did. And he did not only do that. My brother had a situation that he was trying to get sorted out for 10 years. He also made a phone call and got that sorted out. And that thing that he did for my brother changed my brother's life. So you don't know what lies within that earthen vessel. So give that person a chance, take yourself out of it and come to realize sooner rather than later that it's not personal. It's something that is happening to that person that is causing that person to behave in that way. So I am so happy for you that you come to this point in your relationship with your TME, and I pray and hope that it continues that way and that loyalty between you would go beyond the office and outside of the office, because maybe one day you would move on or that person would move on and you still could, keep in touch and have a beautiful relationship. Like I said, and I'll repeat again, relationships are like currencies. They can buy things that money cannot buy. So I can hear you saying to me, what if that person don't conform? What if that person don't respond to the strategy tips that I give you? What do you do? Well, stay tuned for the next video. I got you covered. I have tips for you to deal with that person who is not conforming, the non-conformist, if that's a word. So we'll talk about that in the next video. But if these tips has been beneficial to you, I need you to like, subscribe. I also need you to share because, we want everybody to get this information, to give them an opportunity to develop, just like you. And also, if you have any questions or comments, you can leave it in the comments below. And if you want to say something to me specifically, again, I encourage you to send mail at thestrategyroom@gmail.com. And before I leave, I'll leave you with this tip. Remember, as leaders, we're always learning and we're ever evolving. So don't get discouraged. Keep going. Until the next video, see you later. Bye-bye.